Okay, here we go. Let's learn Hishtapchut HaNefesh, chapter 85, Pei, and as we want to do, following the Rebbe's Eitzah, to make Hishtapchut a connection, a verbal intention of connection to the tzaddikim. Kedoshim Shabbatem Rebbe Nachman so the love Nachal and Rebbe Nachman Rebbe Nachman Figina Nachman Human Zikusami Yin and Amen.
Amen.
All right, here we go. Perfect timing. Yikra Tshuva, Hu Tefillah. The main Tshuva, the main returning way we return to Hashem, the main experience of returning, the main Tshuva is Tefillah. Why? Well, Tia Tshuva Hi Bechinas Lamalam in Torah, because Tshuva is an aspect of being above Torah. What does that mean? In other words, when in the instance of tshuva, not only am I keeping Torah, we tend to think of tshuva only in terms of a person sinned, did nevera, or didn't do the mitzvah that he was supposed to do. He says, "I'm sorry," he comes back and does the mitzvah properly, doesn't repeat the avera, and that's true. Rebbe Nachman's talking about that there's a more primal tshuva. The tshuva of being in relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And that's higher than Torah. He says that's above Torah. Shesham nishapech hakol tova. Because in that place where it's all in relationship to Hashem is only good. In a lower place, Torah is the delineation. Torah includes the delineation. It's chesed v'gvura din, which is boundaries and delineations, which is why there's mitzvot. Right? So that's within in the realm where everything is tov v'ra, where there's right and left and delineation and multiplicity. But above that, in the place of absolute unity, that everything is one, then that's where everything, when a person raises up their awareness, and Rebbe Nachman talks about that, when we raise up the holy sparks, what are we doing? It's in the awareness, in the actual awareness of the relationship of Kadosh Baruch Hu, that Hashem is the one who's creating this moment, this experience, this me, and all the other associated details of that human existence, that human experience, all made of light. Then in that place we get to raise up whatever is called bad in this world into the place where it's all good and actually cause a transformation. And that's what we do when we do tshuva, because when we're doing tshuva, we actually come back to the place where we, as Rebbe Nachman explains in many places, we on the level of absolute truth, a person falls in order to go down to pick up the holy sparks that have fallen there in order to raise them up. Okay. And we've talked about many times that we have to understand that the tachlis, the main point of being a Jew, is living in this paradoxical existence, where on the one hand it's completely me and my responsibility. And there's no such thing as, that God made me fall to go down so I pick up holy sparks. It's like, I blew it, now I gotta fix it. On the other hand, also completely 100% true, is that Hashem's running everything and orchestrating the unfolding of history according to His creation and the tapestry and the brilliance and the amazing creation in order to show goodness and to reveal the goodness and the greatness of His creation, like Rebbe Nachman says, that the main joy and delight of the world to come is the aspect of constant state of thanks and praise. In other words, wow, you're so cool, thank you. You are, and forever and ever, level upon level, deeper level of appreciation. So therefore, what we're saying here is that when we do this tshuva, that everything in that place, when we connect up to the place where we're taught in prayer, where prayer is the relationship with Hashem, prayer is the intimacy. And therefore, what we do is we go into that place and everything gets transformed, including where everything is zonot right? All the even purposeful sins are transformed as if we had done the biggest mitzvahs. And how do you get to this? Through prayer, through talking to Hashem, through having intimacy and a relationship with your Father in heaven. Because obviously Hashem created Torah. Anybody who's the creator of something is obviously bigger and greater than the thing He created. So Hashem is above Torah. Rebbe Nachman explains this otherwise in other places. Therefore, if you want to come back and return to Hashem in truth, because we've talked about this before. If you have a friend, or even a better example is you have an intimate relationship with a spouse, then if you have a spouse, then how do you have intimacy? How do you have a relationship? Through talking. What kind of relationship are you going to have with your spouse if you don't talk to each other? And you don't talk to each other in truth, from a place of sincerity and vulnerability. It's not much of a relationship if you can't be vulnerable and communicate with each other. And so too, the same exact thing we talk about with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So therefore, anybody who wants to return to Hashem in truth, Eker Tshuva Shleimo Yadei Tefillah, Zahainu Sheispalel Tamid L'Hashem Yisbarach, Shimchal V'Yislach Lo Al Ma Shepagam. So always pray to Hashem, always, that He should forgive us and pardon us for everything that we damaged and with anything we blemished. And to have compassion on him and to save him from now on, to never again to fall into the clutches of sin, of transgression. Because really, a person is in great danger in this world, in very, very deep danger. Especially the one who's trying to tshuva, because you know what? Hopefully you're different, but I know that me, growing up in the West, and going through what I'm going through, each time I try to improve myself and come to a new level or a more refined level of kedusha, of acting according to Hashem's desire of what He wants to act within kedusha. Each time I try, it's very hard because of all the things that I've done in the past. There's so many attachments possible for the forces of evil to come and try to attack. So especially the Baal Tshuva, that he fell already, and he failed in whatever he failed in. Every day, a person's Yetzirah is overcoming him, is trying to conquer him. And how can a person merit to shuv? How can you possibly overcome? It says in the Mishnah, in the Pirkei Avos, right? It says if it wasn't for Hashem helping a person against the Yetzirah, they would never have a chance. That's the Pirkei Avos? Help me, everybody, on Hashem. I'm so far from a knowledgeable person, at least to get to know that such a teaching exists. But oy boy. Okay. So anyway, I know the teaching exists. The main thing is that we have to remember that we're always beset by this Yetzer Hara. How does the Yetzer Hara get us? What is it? You think that he said to makes us want to fall in sins, but it's the main thing. One of the main things it does is it gets us to be less than happy. It makes us forget that it's all Hashem and all good. That's all the Yetzer Hara. And so it's the same idea when a person, the Yetzer Hara makes us forget to pray. The Yetzer Hara uses our feelings that when we think of wanting to pray, and we have heaviness come upon us and things like that, that's the Yetzer Hara trying to stop us from having this intimate relationship with Hashem. So therefore the main thing is prayer, because it's only, Hashem made it so that the Yetzer Hara is always going to be able to overcome. You know why? Free choice. If the Yetzer Hara doesn't overcome us, then it's going to be very obvious. Oh, of course I want to serve Hashem. Oh, of course I'm going to be happy all the time. Oh, of course I'm going to use this precious gift of time wisely and productively. There would be no choice for a neshama. Right? It's only because of the Yetzer Hara that we have free choice. So therefore, therefore the main thing is prayer and making oneself alone with Hashem. And there we see it again. You need to get used to this. He's got a few things we have to get used to here. We have to get used to it, to get rid of. What do we have to get rid of? Our forgetfulness that this is what we have to do. We have to get used to that we need to every time, have a period of time every day, have a period of time where we make ourselves alone in our awareness that Hashem is creating the world just for me, and I have a life that He's giving me, and the purpose of this life is to see what needs to be done and talk to Hashem about it. And also to praise Him and have gratitude for all the experience of this life. Because did I deserve a life? Hashem gave me a life. He wanted to give me a life. Some people say, oh, now He gave me a life, I deserve that He takes care of me. Fine, do that. The fact that Hashem created me and gave me an experience, and what about the person who is having a tough life, God forbid? What about that person? So that person has to understand that, and have faith, that there's tikkunim, there's fixings going on, and that this is not the main world. That this is a 15-minute roller coaster ride that seems like 60, 80, 120 years, and it's, of course, the more fun you have, the faster it seems to go, and the less fun you have, the harder it seems, God forbid, lo aleinu. But even if it's that way, you have to reinforce yourself and encourage yourself and be with people that will also encourage you to say, yes, whatever it is, God is only doing for the good, and you got to cry out your pain and scream it out. But the main thing is always to remember that we're here for this, to have this experience and this relationship. Hashem's hidden. It's complete. This is why it's tshuva is prayer. Why is tshuva prayer? Because prayer is completely emunah. Who are you talking to? I'm going to set aside an hour of my precious time to sit in an empty room and talk to someone. Who am I talking to? It's only emunah, because the senses don't see it, the seichel doesn't see it. So that's the ikar tshuva. And that's the main thing why we're here, is to find Hashem and to recognize, and to believe with perfect faith that it is Hashem. And to each and every day, we have to get used to having that perspective. And then while we're having that perspective, we got to get used to saying words. Hashem, please, I'm so far away. I'm supplicating before you. Harachman, Hashem Yisbarach, Hamalei Rachamim B'chol Eit. You're so full of, my Creator, that you're full of compassion every time. Please, show me your compassion. Bring me close, I'm so far away. Please forgive me for what I've done and let me come back and fix and repair everything. Let my neshama shine the way that you want it to shine and the way that it should shine according to what it really is. It's only my Yetzer Hara that's getting in the way here, Hashem. It's only this amazingly strong Yetzer Hara that you've given me. You want to be able to make sure to talk to Hashem like that. And to really be sincere and to believe. If you don't believe, if you can't talk like this, but, alright, if you can talk, you have to ask, if you're your close friend, can you talk to, and like you want your friend to do something for you? Would you be able to have a conversation where you're really persuading him and begging him and saying, please, this means a lot, I really need your help here? Could you do such a conversation if you had something that meant a lot to you? Have you ever had that experience? Can you imagine that experience?
Imagine it.
Okay. Very, very difficult to imagine that of wanting something so badly to really ask somebody for help, and they don't really want to, and you keep trying to get them to help you. That you've never had that experience. Have you had that experience? Where you want something so badly, and you have a friend, and you need their help, and they don't really want to, and you're talking, please, I need your help, I'm begging, you're my friend, who else am I going to turn to? That type of conversation? You haven't had that type of conversation. Okay, so good. So the point is that you need to, when he says get used to, how do you get used to something if you don't know what it is, if you never had it? You got to think of, he gives us the analogy very early on. He says, you have to talk to Hashem just like you talk to your closest friends. So here we are before Hashem and asking Him, please have compassion. You could change this, you could change my attitude, my behavior with a snap of your proverbial fingers. You could switch my heart, Hashem, I'm begging you. That's the kind of conversation. Having it, you need to start having it. And if you're not having it, you need to make sure to put that down on your hibon. Hashem, please let me have conversations with you that I really do talk to you like you're my best friend, and that I really do try to persuade you to help me out. Please let me be sincere with you. Yeah? If you're not having those conversations, then you have to ask him. It's so precious and important. I mean, you think about it. What are we here for? What do you do? Why are you keeping Shabbos? Because you're afraid if you don't, Shabbos is going to kill you? Okay, there is that. But is that a real high level? Why do you keep Shabbos? Because my Creator gave me this gift that He wants me to experience it. Oh, who's the Creator? The one I talk to. The one I feel in my life every moment. The one who's my best friend. Who's my Father, and He's my lover, and He's my best friend. And He's my partner in unfolding the creation. I'm His partner, really. Those are all relationships that we must pay attention to, whether we're having them or not. And if we're not, we have to ask for them. And we have to scream for them. And we have to let ourselves feel that far and give it a voice. So far. So far. Please bring me close to you. Please, Hashem, I'm begging you could switch everything. Surely you didn't create me to be just totally overwhelmed by my Yetzer Hara the rest of my life and to waste these precious moments of life that I could be using in serving you with mitzvahs and learning and ma'asim tovim, Hashem. Chaval, why do I sit here? What do I need to pleasure myself for and just waste time and do only for me, selfish me? That's not what I want, Hashem, but it's my Yetzer Hara. You know me, you know my heart. My heart wants only you, my neshama wants only you. My Yetzer Hara wants selfishness. My Yetzer Hara wants to waste time, Abba. You know that. And even if you did pray like this, so let's say, that's another thing the Yetzer Hara will do. So let's say you finally get through and you break through and you have some prayers like this, and God forbid nothing changes. So the Yetzer Hara is going to say to you, see, why should you make the effort? Hashem's not listening. And you have to say, no, even if I see that I've not done anything, it seems like, and even the Yetzer Hara is still overcoming me. Do your part. Make sure you don't give up. Always pray. And don't listen to the Yetzer Hara. Hashem is always compassionate. Hashem always loves us. Hashem always is waiting for us to return to Him with an open hand. Right? And so the Yetzer Hara wants to fool us. Don't allow it. So we just do our part, and we talk to Hashem and ask Him, finally perhaps He'll finally have compassion, He'll turn His attention and fix my broken abilities. As it says, hope to God. And because in that verse, right, it says, Kavel Hashem, Chazak v'yametz libecha, v'kavel Hashem. Hope to God, which is praying. Strengthen yourself and be courageous. You saw nothing's happening. It takes courage to keep going. And go back and pray again. ואם לא נתקבלה תפילתך, חזור וקווה. עוד פעם. וכל הזמן שאין אדם חזק ודאיתו שתמיד יקווה אל השם, שתמיד יקווה אל השם ויתיר אליו, and all the person, if we're not strong in this, in our awareness, that we need to always pray and always hope to Hashem, אף אם יעבור עליו מה, עדיין אין תשובה שלמה. And if a person doesn't have this awareness, that it doesn't matter what's going to happen. It doesn't matter if I don't see my prayer getting answered. It doesn't matter. Every day I keep praying for the same coming out from whatever sin or behavior pattern that's not proper, and then the next day I'm doing the same thing again. And it seems like it's been going on forever. Right? So as long as you haven't done this, that you know that it doesn't matter, I'm going to keep praying, he says, the tshuva is never going to be shalom. Even if you succeeded, even if you did overcome this, but you don't have it strong that if I didn't overcome this, I was about to give up praying. You know, like that type of attitude. That's not shlemut. Because we don't know what's going to be each day. Some test is going to happen, some obstacle is going to happen, God forbid. And do we know we're always going to be able to stand even after we achieved some shuvah? Do we know what the next obstacle is going to be, that maybe we're going to, God forbid, have a tough time, and if we're not strong in this, we're not going to continue to pray? אבל אם אדם חזק בדעתו שאפילו אם חס ושלום לא יעמוד בניסיון ואפילו אם יהיה חס ושלום איך שיהיה, but when a person is really strong and keeps it in mind that I'm never going to stop praying, I'm never going to give up to try and come close to Hashem, even if no matter what happens, even if he didn't pass the test, even if he fell to whatever he fell, God forbid, nevertheless you got to always be praying and hoping to Hashem. In the aspect of Atziyah Sha'ol Hineke, even if I fall to hell, you are here, Hashem. As David Melech said, Azhu B'tuach B'vadai, then you're certainly going to have it. Sheb'vadai is Kelu Tshuva Shlema. If you keep with this, and you keep strong, and you never give up, and you never stop praying, and you never let yourself fall away from praying, you're certainly going to eventually come to Tshuva Shlema. Complete return. Kisof Kosof Yashuv L'Hashem Yisbarach, because in the end you will return to Hashem. Because since you stayed strong in your thoughts about, I need to always pray, I need to never give up, I need to keep trying to have my relationship with my Creator. That's to never fall away from prayer, ever, ever, ever. Any comments or thoughts, questions? So this is really each of these times. Remember what we talked about also last week. When you're hearing these things, apply them while you're hearing them. Be praying in your mind. Communicate to Hashem while you're hearing them. Hashem, please, that's me. I want to pray to you and not give up. I want to have intimacy with you. All these things that you're hearing, that's me. I want to have intimacy with you, Hashem. Listen to my heart. Listen to these thought prayers, Hashem. You certainly hear them. You can be thinking all these things while you're listening, while you're hearing these things. The reason we're listening, why are you here? Because you want this. So don't just be sitting there and absorbing it and like, it's a pleasant class, but rather be an active participant in your mind. When you hear it, be already silent, screaming, Hashem, that's me, I want intimacy. Please, I know you hear thought prayers just as well. Do you understand why if Hashem hears thought prayers, by the way, why do we speak the words? People ask that. People say this. Hashem can hear my thoughts. Rebbe Nachman discusses it also. Even though thought is very powerful and it's very good. You remember why? Anybody want to take a stab at why we have to speak the words? There's numbers of reasons. Anybody? Anybody?
By speaking the words, it brings it more into the world of action. There
you go. It gives it a vessel. It gives it a consciousness. The consciousness comes out in the world. And so not only is the prayer powerful, it's more powerful, but it also is more powerful to yourself. It resonates back to you more.
Now, aren't there meditations that any words or any sound more powerful than meditations that they use mantras and
Say the question again.
Isn't there a meditation that you don't use any sound?
Oh, within Torah, within the there are different meditations, sure. But again, that's meditation is different than a prayer. It's a type of prayer. Meditation is different than a Hibodedut type of prayer. It's a different type of prayer. We're talking about Hibodedut, and there are meditations that use Davka sounds in the Kabbalistic meditations that use the Nukudot, and you pronounce the vowels with different visions and thoughts of the arrangement and permutations of letters. Okay. So that's the main reason why you have to say words. For that reason, what you just said, bring it into Malchus, into the physical world, and to create a full what's called Choma Shlema, a full structure. Because thought exists in a higher. The root of thought is in the world of Bria. The root of speech is in the world of action, and the root of speech. Thought is Yitzira. Is speech, thought, intent.
Action.
Yeah. Oh, action, right? Action, speech. Speech and action are also both it's either thought and then action, or thought and then speech. Or it can be thought, speech, and action. I have to look at that again, because speech is Malchut and action is Malchut. Both are Malchut. It could be that speech is also like a Yesod type of Malchut as well. So then it would be action, speech, thought, intent, will. Okay. Shall we go on for one more? Hey, Bob? Yes, no? Okay,
Yeah,
86. What?
What's the alternative? Just calling it
The alternative is to not go on. To take a... Amr b'Senzim Racha, our sages of blessed memory, said, Geula Rishona Haya Achareha Hafsek. With the first redemption, afterwards there was a break in it. In other words, there was a period of non-redemption. But the final redemption will not have any time out for non-redemption. Because as a result of, or as a outcoming of the first Geula was receiving Torah. Geula Achrona hu bechinas Tefillah. Because after going out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, we came to Sinai and we received Torah. But the Geula Achrona, this final redemption that's coming, that's happening now, that's unfolding, is the aspect of prayer. Shezeh Eker bechinas David u'Mashiach. Because that is the main thing of David and Mashiach. V'zeh kol inyan ha'chamisha sfarim shebetehillim. And this is also the main idea behind the fact there are 5 books in the book of Psalms. There are 150 Psalms, and the Psalms are divided into actually 5 books. And you'll see it if you look in the book of Psalms. You see Sefer Rishon, Sefer Sheni, Shehem Keneged Chamisha Chumshei Torah. And those 5 books in Psalms are in juxtaposition and relationship, and just like there are 5 books of Torah. Ki kol tfilosav shel David, shu Sefer Tehillim, shekalul mikol tfilos Yisrael, because all the prayers of King David, which is the book of Tehillim, which are included, and in other words, with Ruach HaKodesh, David HaMelech was able to include all the different possible types of prayer in an embodiment, in a structure called Psalms. In other words, if you go through Psalms, that's all the different possible types of prayer are embodied in Tehillim. Right? So it's the Chalul of all the Tefillah Yisrael. Hakol hu rak bishvil sheyizke lekayim es Torah bishleimus. And all of these prayers, and was for the sake of why? That we could uphold the Torah in a complete fashion, bishleimus. It's only this way. See, people try to keep Torah, and some people are very successful at keeping Torah just by deciding to. But there's a lot of people that can't, and this is a main distinction between Breslov and Chabad, for instance. and why a lot of wrestlers yell about Chabad being lie. Not because Chabad's bad, but because in Geula Acharona is about being able to raise oneself to the level of tzaddik through the yearning. In Chabad they say there's such a thing as a Beinoni. And they're right when a person is trying from his own efforts, the best he can do is become a good Beinoni. But Rebbe Nachman says, but if you put it to Hashem and beg Hashem to bring you close, then you can go way beyond what you can do as a person, and you can actually become a tzaddik. And that's the big disagreement between Breslov and Chabad. Because
Chabad says to you on it,
if you're not born a tzaddik, you're never going to become a tzaddik. The best you can become is a good Beinoni. And and whatever we know about psychology in this today, we know that wherever you put your thought, that's the best. As they say, it's better to shoot for the stars and reach the moon than to shoot for the moon and reach nothing. In other words, you got to put your mind on big things. And Rebbe Nachman says, believe you can become a tzaddik. He says, if you do follow my advice and nullify yourself, I can make you a tzaddik just like me. And the Alter Rebbe said, no, there's no such thing. And they had a big disagreement about that. And I don't know. I promise that, Baruch Hashem, I don't know anything. I know I prayed about this because I heard it called. Anytime I hear something in strife, I try to get an understanding from Hashem. Like, how do I understand this? How do I relate to this? How do I relate to the Sabbas calling the Lubavitcher Rebbe a sheker? How do I relate to that? Oh, so what? So we know Rebbe Nachman says, first of all, don't get involved in machloket of the tzaddikim. He also says that tzaddikim davka make machloket on each other. And the fact that the Saba he said, and this that I'm calling him sheker is not included in what the Rebbe said that don't get involved in the machloket of the tzaddikim. Yeah, and so but that doesn't matter. The Saba, I can bet that the Saba, these things are to throw people off, to keep them not aware of, because the Saba didn't want people to see how great he was, and he would do things to the tzaddikim all do this. They do things to throw people off the track, off the scent. And so you can bet that he knew that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was an amazing big tzaddik, and so he yells at him, yes, sheker. And he understood, I'm sure, that just like Rebbeinu says, if somebody doesn't hold by Rebbe Nachman, that's because that's what Hashem wants from them right now. Hashem is controlling everything. It's not wrong. In the end, Rebbe Nachman says that everybody will be attached to me because my Torah is the Torah of Mashiach. He says that. So I have emunah pshuta. I have simple faith that that's the truth. Why? Because that's what I learned. That the Torah says you have simple faith in the tzaddikim, and if a tzaddik says something, even if it makes no sense to you, you still believe him. So if Rebbe Nachman says that everybody's attached to me, nobody else says things like that. So how do I stim? How do I figure out, okay, but isn't the Lubavitcher Rebbe big tzaddik yet they're yelling sheker? No, it's a place that needs to be held for the time being until the Geula Shlema. That awareness of that possibility that there's only Beinoni keeps free choice intact. If that Torah wasn't in the world, then everybody would be flocking to Breslov and to Hibodidus, and it wouldn't be free choice anymore. And so the Rebbe Nachman says very clearly that the main thing that he wants to do is keep free choice intact. So we have to understand that's the whole thing here. This is the Geula Rishona was about Torah, and the whole exile has been that's the main thing is to sit and learn Torah, and that's been the last couple of hundred years, especially like these yeshivas. But where does it say the main thing is to go out and break your heart in prayer and beg for Torah? He said that's what it makes sense that this is the Geula Acharona. This is intimacy. This is your own relationship. You're not dependent on some tzaddik who's going to be your surrogate to God. Even Rebbe Nachman is not. You have to connect through him. He holds the place of Yesod, and all of us have to go through Yesod to get to Hashem. So he accessed that place so that we have that easier access through it. But he still wants us to have our own relationship. He's not being a surrogate in our relationship with Hashem. He's hooking us up so we can have our own relationship. So that's why the Geula Acharona, and again, when I say that's why? What do I know? It seems to me, it seems clear from whatever low level of understanding I have, that the Gula Acharona is about intimacy and the relationship with Hashem, and to try to, and instead of I'm going to learn Torah, but rather please Hashem, open me up so that I can receive your Torah, and so that I can relate to you through your Torah, to have intimacy with you through your holy Torah, and that I should receive from you because I'm asking in your son to be able to remember and to get used to having this type of relationship with our Father in heaven. Amen.
I wanted to add, I heard something from Rebbe Nachman a few hours ago. He has a daily video series, and how Baal Shem Tov talked about the points of dates, obviously, and then Rebbe Nachman as well. He goes, there's dinner at night.